The 18-year-old who walked into that Texas classroom and killed 19 students and 2 teachers made 3 chilling posts on social media. The posts were on Facebook a half hour before the attack. The first read, "I'm going to shoot my grandmother." The other was, "I shot my grandmother." And the third, posted about 15 minutes before the rampage, it read, "I'm going to shoot an elementary school." He'd also allegedly posted disturbing images online to Instagram prior to carrying out the attack. And it was just last week that the New York's Attorney General, Letitia James, announced that her office was investigating social media companies after another mass shooting had used the online platforms to plan, promote, and stream a mass shooting in a Buffalo grocery store. It left 10 people dead. James said her office would investigate Twitch, 4chan, 8chan, and Discord, along with other platforms that the shooter used to amplify the attack. Social media is increasingly being linked with mass shootings online. Joining me on the morning show, forensic psychologist Dr. Stephen Bloomfield. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
Very well. So while little can be done to prevent people from making threats online, we can be more aware about how people, especially teenagers, are using social media to foster aggression and violence. Is it because they think that they're having a conversation, but not the kind of conversation that you and I are used to?
Well, the conversation is virtual and is a dissociative factor. It's a hard concept to get your head around, but people on social media say things and do things that they normally wouldn't say face to face, or even in a face to face Zoom where you have an interaction with someone and there's a reaction. So what happens is there's a combination of what we call dissociative behavior. They dissociate from reality. They dissociate from a sense of humanity. And at the same time, they get reinforced for posting these things because no one's stopping them. Although these red flags are clear and they have to be attended to as quickly as possible.
So do they lose their filter and feel a sense of entitlement?
Well, they feel entitled. They feel narcissistic, that they're the center of the universe, because other people on social media are responding to them. Obviously, there's copycats, but other people are responding to them in almost, it's not encouragement, but it's what we call reinforcement. Behavior is either reinforced and you do more of it, or it's extinguished and you do less of it. So what's happening with these people on social media is that they get reinforced. They get to be the center of the world. They get to feel important. And, it relates back to their whole lives. Many of them were abused, neglected, abandoned, have reactive attachment disorders, where they weren't the center of a positive life. So they gain that kind of reinforcement in an artificial, virtual manner.
So I almost get the sense that they're disassociated from reality. It's like what they do on social media is a real-life video game to them.
It often feels like a video game from the people I've spoken to and evaluated. It doesn't feel real. They don't see it as real people getting hurt. They move away from the sense that we live in a world with people where we interact, and they just see everything through the eyes. That's not everybody on social media. So I don't want people who are listening to think that it's that. It's people who start off with personality disorders, histories of abuse, neglect, abandonment. And the real factor is, as you said, dissociation and personality issues, personality disorders.
So when they weaponize, like this 18-year-old in Texas, do they forget or ignore the value of lives, the lives of others, let alone their own, or do they simply not care?
I think they get to a point where there's no feeling. It's not that they forget; it's that they don't experience, they don't empathize, they don't understand, they don't incorporate. And a lot of it's because that's their way that they've been treated, but a lot of it is also because of the development of a problematic personality structure where they can't experience the empathy that most of us would experience because we're interacting directly with people and we're watching them and we get cues from them. And we get people in real life interactions saying, well, you can't do that. that's not okay. Don't do that. Stop. And often that doesn't happen on social media.
So let me move in another direction here, because there are clearly mental health issues at play there. So right after the shooting, Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut took the floor of the Senate. He represents the area where the Sandy Hook school shootings took place 10 years ago. And he didn't mince words. He said, spare me the BS about mental illness. We don't have any more mental illness than any other country in the world. You can't explain everything through the prism of mental illness, because we're not an outlier on mental illness. We're an outlier when it comes to access to firearms and the ability of criminals and very sick people to get their arms on firearms. That's what makes America different. You're a psychologist. You deal and treat mental illness every day. Your take.
I support 100% what he said. I'm so glad that he said it, because it's so hypocritical to hear people who have voted against mental health funding, who've spoken against mental health funding. And certainly the impact of the violent acts is not just limited to the number of days these things stay in the media. In addition to the tragic loss, psychological science suggests that these horrific events lead to significant post-traumatic stress disorder among victims and bystanders. So all of these people who are now saying this is a mental health issue, let's deal with it. Yeah, it's a mental health issue because it's a public health issue. Too many guns, too easy to get guns, no response. There's advocacy, easy advocacy for gun safety, including background checks of prospective buyers, safe gun storage, laws implementing extreme risk protection orders. And I would challenge every single human being in the United States who's talking about mental health to think about providing mental health funding for research, for what goes on in the minds of these mass killers, murderers, for what, and also a fund to treat the trauma that the victims' friends and families are experiencing. Governor Abbott just said, we need more love. Sure, we need more love, and sure, we need more prayers, but we also need treatment. And someone has to be able to get in there and be funded and provide treatment on a long-term basis for the people who are left, the victims' families and friends. And the hypocrisy of saying it's mental health when the senator so rightly says is that the United States is an outlier is not on the amount of mental illness, but the ease for which it is to get a gun and the number of guns we have. I just read an article this morning that I think 20, 30 years ago, a murderer walked into an elementary school in the United Kingdom, shot it up, and the next day, the parliament outlawed guns, outlawed handguns for people the next day. And there hasn't been a mass shooting in an elementary school, junior high school, or grammar school in England since then.
Dr.
So
Stephen Bloomfield, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I do have to go here. We're up against the clock. But your impassioned plea has certainly been heard. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.